Hey, how's it going? Dranus here. Welcome back to another Path of Exile 2 Return of the Ancients video. So, since the Path of Exile 2 Return of the Ancients, we have got a big endgame overhaul for a lot of endgame activities, like the Breach mechanic and the Atlas passive tree. Breach has gained access to a whole new crafting system with a new Genesis tree. So far, I've been focusing on Breach for quite a while, and I can say that I really like the new Breach mechanic and the Genesis tree. This allows us to get either currency, new special rings, belts, amulets or catalysts, and Breach rings, and of course the Breach pinnacle boss Xesht. We are that one. In this video we will be talking about the cool new rewards we can access and get in the Breach, and we'll also do a bit of a deep dive into the new Breach mechanic and how to farm Breach the most efficient, so you can get the most out of your new reworked Breach mechanic. So, as I said, we also got a completely overhauled Atlas tree this time. And farming the Breach the most efficient way, you can either do this without completing the Atlas tree first, but I would recommend always to unlock a couple of points first in the Atlas tree. Unlocking points in the Atlas tree will either increase the quantity or quality of the items for monsters, monster overall effectiveness, or other little bonuses that will increase the efficiency of Breach. This goes for all the mechanics, so completing the Atlas passive tree as fast as possible will basically mean you can farm any mechanic more efficiently. In the Atlas tree you have also a lot of nodes that can be changed anytime, so just use them to your advantage and use the options that fit your playstyle. In my experience, passive points in the Atlas tree that will allow you to make your tablets rare and give them additional modifiers are really nice pickup. This will increase your Breach tablets, but also your irradiated tablets if you want to use them. And this will increase the overall effectiveness of your waystones. And this will basically means more drops and more items for the specific mechanic you're farming. In my instance, the Breach mechanic. Putting multiple Breach tablets in a single waystone will allow you to get more unstable breaches in this specific waystone. Now, to unlock all the passive points in the Atlas tree, you can either choose to complete all the maps in the fortress one by one, or do the pinnacle boss, the Arbiter of Divinity, 5 times to unlock each section of the fortress. In my case, I went for the pinnacle bosses because this will unlock all of the sections for the fortress and will give you all the Atlas points. But don't forget to also do the precursor towers, because each of those will give you 4 additional Atlas points. To engage the Arbiter of Divinity you will need 2 items, the Origin Spark and the Origin Cradle. The Origin Spark can be found in the Patriarch Halls, where you will fight Sentinel of the Spark. Once you kill this one will drop the Origin Spark. The second item, the Origin Cradle, can be found in the Matriarch Halls. You will need to find Sentinel of the Cradle here. This one will drop the Origin Cradle. Once you have both the Origin Spark and the Origin Cradle, use them in the Origin machine in the fortress. Go to the Origin engine, place the items, and this one will create the Origin core for you. Once you have this one, you can go to the top of the Origin tower and fight the Arbiter of Divinity. This can be a pretty hard fight, especially if you're not good geared yet, so be careful when encountering this one. But in my experience it is really doable. And this will save you the time of doing all of the maps one by one. This one also has 2 phases, so be careful. After defeating, you can activate an ancient mechanism, one of each section of the fortress. This will give you the remaining Atlas point for this specific section. Since the Atlas tree is shared on your account, you can do the Arbiter of Divinity with any character you like, but you will need to find him 5 times in total to completely unlock all of the section in the fortress this way. Since the new rework of the endgame, we also got a completely new Breach Atlas tree with a total 32 points available. Once you get to the endgame and the Atlas map, you will get a quest that will point you towards the Monastery of the Keepers. Most of the time, it is located to the southwest of your starting point. Here you can get your Breach Atlas points that will enhance your Breach farm. You can unlock points by doing the Breach Fortress below the Monastery of the Keepers. Keep in mind, most of those points are specific for the Breach Fortresses we can find on the Atlas. We will go over how to get and find those Breach Fortresses on the Atlas a little bit later. Inside the Breach Fortress, maps most of the time have a couple of additional modifiers that can be enhanced using the Breach tree. So we got increased quantity of Hive blood found, increased quantity of Worm gifts, increased quantity of Breach monsters, increased pack size, additional waves of Breach monsters, and also additional effectiveness of rare monsters in Breach. Furthermore, inside Breach Fortresses you will find Hive Colonies, Hive Fortresses, and also just a couple of maps that will contain a lot of breaches. This is where the Breach passive tree comes online. So you have a couple of options here, and as I said before, this one is mostly focused on the Breach mechanic inside the Breach Fortresses. Eventually you can fill in all of those points and you can respec them anytime you like. But we have a couple of notes here that will apply to all your breaches you find. So also the unstable breaches and the breach hives you will encounter on certain maps. Here we have the breeding program. We can select which womb gifts we want. And these ones can be inserted into the Genesis tree to grow in a specific item, like currency, amulets, belts, or rigs. In this case I have selected the belts, womb gifts, but you can respec this one anytime you want to a specific one you would like to have. We have also another one here. I am personally the biggest fan of the effectiveness of rare breach monsters, because this will just increase the overall drop rate of them and more quantity of items dropped. We also got the Tear Open the Rift Major Breach. Now this is a special one, because this will allow you to use an additional breach stone once you find the breach fortresses on the Atlas map to add additional modifiers on all of the revealed maps. To find the breach fortresses, you will need to keep breach stones in your inventory. Once you have them in your inventory and you will explore the Atlas, you will come across these kinds of locations where you can review a breach fortress. And in this instance you can see that it is required 2 breach stones. This is because of the Tear Open the Rift Major Breach here. We also have the Sole Purpose Destruction. In the breach fortresses and the breach hives, you will encounter waves of enemies and you will be assisted by Aelith. Aelith can create a number of skills, and these skills can either defend Aelith because she needs to survive the encounter, or you can just get skills that will increase the overall effectiveness of monsters in this in these breaches. So I would prefer to go for the increased number of skills created here, because this will allow you to have a couple more options. And I normally don't really need the defensive options for Aelith or the extra damage, but this is just your personal preference. Now, as I said, if you complete the quest Breach Fortress, so to the southwest of your starting location, you will unlock all the points. Picking the best path for you, I would always recommend going to this one first, because this will allow you to craft certain items that you want to get. But basically, you will fill in all of those points eventually. So I wouldn't worry that much about it. To the right here is also a very important section of the tree, because this will allow you to have additional points in the Genesis tree to spec your specific items. We will go over the Genesis tree a little bit later, but this section here will allow you to have additional passive points for the Genesis tree, what will allow you to craft better and specific items. Now, as we saw, we need to have breach stones to be able to open breach fortresses on the Atlas map. Getting breach stones requires you to get breach splinters. You can get breach splinters by either doing breaches in the Atlas, so unstable breaches and things like that, or you can buy them using the currency exchange. You need 300 to be able to create a breach stone, and it will create a revelatory womb gift. You can place this one into the Genesis tree, and this one will create a breach stone for you using Hive blood. Hive blood is also acquired by doing the breach mechanic. Inside the breach strongholds you will always find a Hive Colony, and inside the Hive Colony you will find the Nest of the Lords, where you will fight it that was Tool and also it that was Ash. These ones are mini bosses from the breach mechanic, and once you kill them they will drop a Breach Lord sack. This Breach Lord sack can be used to defeat Xesht, the pinnacle boss of the breach mechanic. To be able to defeat Xesht, you need to go to Monastery of the Keepers again and take the path behind Aelith. It will not show up on the map, so make sure to pass through the gate behind her and place your Breach Lord sack into the activation here. And then you will be able to enter the Twisted Domain. The Twisted Domain is like an unstable breach, but this one has a timer, so you need to keep killing enemies before the timer runs out. At the end of the unstable breach here, you will also get some loot from the unstable breach, of course, and then you can continue to fight Xesht. Xesht can deal decent damage, so be careful when encountering him. Just keep moving. In my experience, this is the best way to do it. But it will be pretty doable, especially if you have a decent and good optimized build. Within breach strongholds we also encounter Hive fortresses. These ones are places where you will find enemy waves and where you need to defend Aelith. These ones can be tough, especially if you don't have a good area of effect build, since there will be a lot of monsters coming towards you. But most of the time it will be doable, and after you completed the breach, you will need to escape the breach fortress. This can also be tough, but just keep dodge rolling and you will eventually make it to the end. The rewards are pretty amazing and you will get a lot of womb gifts, but also a lot of other items that will really enhance your crafting potential. So let's talk a bit more about the efficiency to farming breach. Now, normally you can only use 3 tablets at certain maps. Since we have the industrial improvements here, we can have an additional tablets when we are doing a city map. So I would always recommend, if you want to farm your breach or any mechanic, to look for city maps. In this instance we can find a couple around the Iron Citadel, but also we can find them around the Stone Citadel as an example, or the Copper Citadel. What I mean by this is now we have an extra slot here, so we can basically enhance our Waystone with an additional breach tablet or an additional other tablet you like. As I said before, I'm personally a fan of placing in 3 of the same mechanic tablets here and use an irradiated tablet, so the monster level will get +1. But always make sure to look out for city biomes if you can, because this will allow you to get way more breaches and way more tablets. So now we have spoke about the overall breach mechanic, how to engage breach, how to get the most out of your breach. And now we will get into the Genesis tree a little bit more, because this is the main reason why I am a personal big fan of the new breach mechanic here. The Genesis tree is basically a tree where you can craft your own items using the rewards from breach encounters on the Atlas. So basically the tree exists out of 4 different parts. We got the currency part here, we got the amulet part here, a belt part here, and a ring part here. Now, for each of these, you have a fixed couple of passive points you can put in those trees. And then you can customize the item you will be birthing here. So in my case, since I am a full minion build, I am mostly looking for minion enhancements. And since the new Genesis tree here, we get a lot of options to do this. So let's start with the belt tree here. So basically, to craft a belt, you need to have hive blood. You see it at the top here, and you need to have womb gifts. The banded womb gifts are the ones that are available for the belts, and most of the time I would recommend to try to get the highest one you can get. So 81 is for me the highest, but you can also do this with a couple of lower ones. But the higher the womb gift is, the better the chance is that you will get the modifiers you want. So, as I said, in my case, I wanted to go for full on the minions. And with the belt tree, the minion section is on the left side here. You always get this one with medium modifier level 20. Birthed items can roll additional minion related modifiers. 10% surpassing chance to birth an additional item. Birthed items always have a minion modifier. This is a really nice one. And then you have a couple of options. In my case, I went for the coherence here. So I hopefully can get increased preservation efficiency of minion skills. This will really help with my army and will basically increase all of my total summons. But you have a couple more options here. You can also pick up the minion strikes have melee splash. So this will allow you to respec a support rune for melee splash for your minions. And we also have the binding, so that this will increase the minion duration. This works especially well for temporary minions. But in my case, I would really like the coherence here. We also have one that we can pick up at the top here. So minions have 50% surpassing chance to fire an additional projectile. I think this is a really good one if you can get this one, especially if you are a full ranged build minion guy, especially with the snipers, frost mages, or the storm mages. But you can also get the your minions are gigantic if they have revived recently. So this works pretty well with the temporary minions like this one. And we also have the instructors. So increased minion damage per different command skill used in the past 15 seconds. This works really well with the different command skills. In my case, I'm only using 2 at a time. So only the ice armor and the gas arrow. But you have a lot of options here that you can pick up. And in my case, I went for the shattering. We also have Beyond Death. This will allow you to get the Archon of Undead buff without speccing into them. So basically, if we cast our Pain Offering, we will have a 50% chance to gain Archon of Undead instead of speccing all the way into the top here to get the Archon of Undead. So this can also be a very good option. Not entirely sure who want to pick this one up, but yeah. As I said, you have a lot of options here. And this really depends on what you want or what you like. To refund the passive points, you can just press the refund button on top here. And you can just refund your options. Let's also go for the 2 minion modifiers here. Yeah, and I will also go for this one now. If you're satisfied with your specific tree, you can just start birthing items. So in this case, we will use a level 81 Womb Gift here. And then start creating. You can either just create them one by one or just create a couple. I really like it to be able to create a couple of them at a time. And as you can see, it consumes 973 hive blood. At the moment we have 95,000, so we have farmed quite a bit. But every item you birth will cost you a little bit of hive blood. Now, as I said, in this case I went fully on the minions. But you also have a couple of good options here if you want to craft a couple of defense modifiers here, so more resistances for your belts. And you also have a couple of more caster related modifiers here to the right. So you have a lot of options with the Genesis tree, and this closes the gap a little bit for casters and for minion builds, because yeah, especially on the belts and the amulets and the rings, we didn't had any good roles for our minions specifically. So I'm really happy about the new Genesis tree they implemented here. So let's have a look at the items we crafted. We got one with 3 modifiers here, and we got a very cool one with the surpassing chance of fire an additional projectile. So we'll hold on to this one. So as you can see, we have a lot of options now, and yeah, just see for yourself what belt is the best one for you. But in my case, I would like to look for belts with either a little bit defense for myself and a lot of minion bonuses. We also have a section for the rings. To the left here is again for minions. To the right here is again for casters. And to the middle here you can craft breach rings. And you can also craft statistics or just resistances, just more defenses. But in this case I also went for the left side here. So we got birth items can for additional minion related modifiers, 10% more chance of additional items, always have a minion modifiers, always have 2 minion modifiers, and some more surpassing chance of getting more items. And we also have a couple of options we can pick here. So we got the minions break armor. We also have minions have increased magnitude of damaging ailments, minions have increased kill speed, and minions have increased buff effect, and surpassing chance to gain a puppet master stack. This also goes as the same as for the Archon of Undead here. Then we can probably respec out of this and spend those 3 points somewhere else in our tree. But in my case I would really want to have the physical damage dealt, because this also means we can respec this one, and this means we can probably respec a lot of it out of here and spend those points somewhere else if we want. Let's also always try to get the highest level you can get. So 81 is I believe the highest, but I'm not entirely sure. So let's have a look. So most of the times you can easily get 3 modifiers for minions on your rings. We got a decent one here with all elemental resistances, so maybe we should hold on to this one. And it differs a little bit what kind of modifiers you will roll, because this one can be enhanced further if we want. And if we take a ring like this, it is fully on the prefixes and the suffixes. Most of the time I will look for damage ones, like this one. So we got more resistances and also increased damage for our minions. In the Genesis tree for the ring branch here, we also have a chance to be able to craft breach rings. And breach rings can be equipped in the Gasping Orchid here. If we do this, we will be able to craft a special item, and we require 60 breach rings. So we can put 60 breach rings inside of here and exchange this one for a special item that will be crafted. But the nice thing is they will have the bonus modifier that they can roll ring modifiers on a body armor. Farming them can be a bit hard, but using the Genesis tree you will have a couple more ways to get your breach rings here. So the next branch here on the Genesis tree will be the amulet branch. Now, as for the belt branch and the ring branch, you have a couple of options here, but since these ones don't specifically give minion bonuses, I would recommend just to look for yourself what kind of amulets you want. In my case, I went for the Burn the Harvest, so this means you can exclude a certain amulet from birthing. Same goes for the Potential Ignored. And also the Greatest Cost. In my case, I would really want to have the Solar Amulet, or the more Spirit. And doing it this way, you have a chance to get more Solar Amulets. I also picked up the Corona amulets because this item gains bonuses from socketed items as though it was a helm. And this means we can try to get the 8% increased reservation also for our amulet. Now, since I am a minion build, I have also +3 to level of all minion skills on my amulet. This is a suffix, so this is the reason why I picked up the suffix modifiers here. So they will roll an additional times, they will keep the highest roll. Now keep in mind, crafting amulets will also enable you to enhance them further, as we have seen by the rings before. So if you craft an amulet that doesn't have all the prefixes or suffixes filled in, you can use, as an example, the breach mechanic and use a collarbone to get the specific modifier you want. At the top here we have birthed items cannot have attack modifiers, so this will make sure we get modifiers we want. Same goes for critical modifiers, and same goes for the caster modifiers, since I don't really want the caster modifiers here. Now as before, to birth items from the amulet tree here, we can use the Ornate Womb Gifts. And as before, try to get as highest level as you can. Since we can see my Ornate Womb Gifts are almost empty here, we can decide to go to the passive tree here and spec the breeding program into the Ornate Womb Gifts. This will allow you to get more Ornate Womb Gifts, and yeah, then you can craft a lot more amulets here. Because amulets, yeah, can be really good from the Genesis tree. As an example, we got one Corona amulet. This one gets bonuses from socketed items as though it was a helm. Unfortunately, it doesn't have any minion bonuses, but yeah, you can craft a couple of very good ones using the Genesis tree this way. If you have a look at the other possibilities here in the amulet branch of the tree, we can see that we can also use a couple more points here that will increase the chance of not consuming hive blood when birthing amulets. Or we can pick up the Forms Beyond Understanding, so we get a chance to get the Laminant, Potent or Absent amulets. To the right here we have a couple of modifiers that will enhance your overall defenses, so mostly life and mana modifiers, but also armor, evasion and energy shield. And to the left here we got modifiers that will enhance attributes, resistances, and you can also choose which resistances to focus. So overall, yeah, the amulet tree is a really nice one, but in my experience, as I said, I'm always a little bit short on the Ornate Womb Gifts, so yeah, speccing your Breach passive tree into the Womb Gifts you want can really get you the Womb Gifts you want to get, and this can really help you by crafting the right items for your build. The last branch we'll be talking about is the currency branch. It is the one at the top here. This one also has the most passive points you can get within the Genesis tree. At the right here you got the branch for currency, Chaos Orbs, Exalted Orbs, Divine Orbs, and also Val Orbs as an example. In the middle here we got a branch that will allow you to craft more Orbs of Transmutation and Augmentation. In the middle here we got a little branch that will either allow you to convert all the currency to gold, or to birth some essences and collarbones. And to the bottom here you have the branch that will allow you to craft catalysts. All the way to the bottom you have a branch that can birth Breedlord Sex if you're lucky, but the 0.3% chance is a little bit low in my opinion. But you can also get your breach splinters using this branch. But as I said, the catalysts, I am mostly spec'd into this, because catalysts are a special crafting mechanism using the breach. This will allow you to enhance certain modifier types on amulets or rings. So as an example, we got an amulet here with maximum mana. We can use a neural catalyst with enhanced mana modifiers to increase this maximum mana. Now keep in mind, you can only use one catalyst on a certain item. So you can only increase one of the modifiers using catalysts. But since catalysts are really hard to come by, not using the Genesis tree, because you can only buy them on the currency exchange, in my experience, birthing catalysts is one of the best things to do in the currency branch here. Same as for all of the others, we can use the lavish womb gifts here to craft certain currency. Now as before, make sure to get the highest one if you can, because this will give the highest chance of getting good drops. But yeah, you can get a lot of currency using it this way. As you can see, we have a lot of catalysts now. Keep in mind, the better catalysts, so the refined ones, can be applied to jewels. So this basically means that if you have a good jewel equipped, you can use a catalyst on this one to be able to increase the stats even further. So yeah, so far we spoke about the bosses we need to do for all of the breach mechanics to unlock the full potential, how to unlock the Atlas tree that will also increase your effectiveness of breach. We spoke about the Genesis tree and what things to look for. In my case, the minion build, of course. We spoke about the grasping orchid here. And we spoke about the catalysts and the womb gifts a little bit. What to look for and what womb gifts and catalysts to use in your build. So far, as I said before, I'm a big fan of the Genesis tree. And I'm really liking the new crafting mechanic here. Especially for the minion builds. Also these casters can really benefit from this new way of crafting items. So yeah, let me know what your personal preference is in the Genesis tree, what items you like to birth, and things like that. But for now, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this one, make sure to leave a like, and I see you in the next one.